Alright, you've all been good. It's time. It's an Atlas Earth video today. But before we do, we're going to spin this wheel, and we're going to spin some more wheels regarding the Atlas Earth diamonds. And I will do all 5 spins today as well, alright? So we're going to spend another 100 Atlas bucks. I think I'm at about 300 at this point, so I am going to go ahead and spin right now. Here we go. And we're getting a rare. And that is the second rare. So we're going to add that on and see what we get. And with that, we now have 4 parcels of land. I'm contemplating on whether or not I want to do a 5th one. I'd say minigame or no. We're going to do 2 parcels on Friday. Yeah, we're going to do 2 parcels on Friday, minigame or no, because we'll have enough Atlas bucks left over. After that, I don't see a problem with doing that. We're also closing in on the day 7 login, which will get me 8 extra Atlas bucks that day instead of 1, which is nice. And yeah, we're making pretty good progress here. January 4th, 4 parcels. I expect to go a little bit faster. We're going to see how fast it will take us to get to 150 parcels in a badge, though. All right, so that is good for that. We're now going to go ahead and spin the wheel and see if we get anything good. All right, I'm going to do 5 spins today. So we'll start with the first spin right now. Spinning. And we got a 6. Wow, I've been getting a lot of 6s and 8s lately. That's kind of cool. Let's spin again. Second spin is a 2. That puts me at 8 Atlas bucks. So far my spins today, another 6. I've been getting a lot of 6s and 8s lately. I got 2 on January 1st. I got an 8 on the 2nd. I got an 8 on the 3rd. And now, here I am getting 2 6s already. I'm going to go ahead and watch an ad. And then I'll see you on the other side. And the 4th one is a 2. One more. And the last spin is a 1. So that is a total of 17 Atlas bucks today in 5 spins. That is not bad at all. All right, on to our topic today. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a phrase that myself and a few others have coined, the break-even tiers. And just a fair warning, it's going to get hella math heavy. So, what are break-even tiers? Well, to talk about break-even tiers, we need to first talk about the boost tiers in Atlas Earth. As many of you know, in Atlas Earth, your parcels make money, but they get a boost multiplier if you watch ads, and the amount it is multiplied by is based on the number of parcels you have. The more parcels you have, the lower that multiplier is. It starts for 30, for people in the US anyways, those up to 150 parcels, that is, 20x if you are in Canada, though I'm not entirely sure what their tiers look like at this point. The info is still a little bit fuzzy right now, but I will get to talking about the math for our Canadian friends later this month when I have a little more free time and I have a little bit more info. So our friends north of the border, please hang on. Anyways, it then progressively shrinks down to a 2x tier when you cross above 1,500 parcels. Now, in past videos, I've explained the best way to figure out how much money you can make is to look at the parcel power of your portfolio, and I'll say that 10 times fast, where we count common parcels as the equivalent of 1 common parcel, rare as 1.5 common parcels, and so on. Now, for this video, I'm going to use a simplified version of that parcel power and not even think about rarity today, since we are looking at the average number of parcels, so we can assume all those parcels are the same. We are also going to ignore badges because all they do is provide a blanket percentage boost, so they provide no real effect on one's parcel power. The formula we are going to use is simply based on the number of parcels you have, the tier of your boost, and how much time you own those parcels and how much time you boost. And we're going to look at this through a 30-day period. 30 days means 720 hours, and because of that, I'm going to make a new unit called Parcel-Hours, which simply means the number of parcels times the number of hours. Think of it like with the power in your home being measured in kilowatt hours. If a computer uses up 200 watts of energy over a 24-hour period constantly, you used up 4,800 watt hours or 4.8 kilowatt hours. In this case, if you own 100 parcels for 720 hours, you have made 72,000 parcel hours. With me to this point? Great. Let's just be a little curious though for a second and see how much a single parcel hour would be worth then. An average parcel returns 0.00000000158 per second times 3,600 seconds, and that gives us 0.000005688 per hour. And yes, I know I could use scientific notation. A single parcel hour is worth this much. The inverse tells us approximately how many parcel hours it would take to make $1. And that is 175,809 parcel hours to make $1. This is without a badge multiplier, by the way. Now, let's go back to our 100 parcel problem. 100 parcels times 720 hours is 72,000 parcel hours, but we did not multiply this by the boost here of 30x, and we're going to assume 24/7 boosting on this simplified problem. So we multiply 72,000 by 30, and we get 2,160,000 parcel hours. And if we divide that by 175,809, we get approximately $12.28 for the month. Again, this is if you boost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the entire month, which means foregoing anything beyond 6 hours of sleep. I went a little long-winded here so you can understand the math behind what I'm about to put up. Why parcel hours and not parcel days? Because these numbers are so big? Well, simple, because it's going to be a lot easier to calculate super rent boosts later on. Spoiler alert there. So anyways, now that you're caught up, let's go back to the boost tiers. The maximum amount of parcel hours you can earn in a 30-day period for the 30x tier is 150 parcels times 720 hours for the 30 days times 30 for the tier boost, or 3.24 million parcel hours, which is the maximum amount of parcel hours you can attain, and this is if you boost 24/7. If we did this to all the other tiers, we would find that before super rent boosts, this is about the most parcel hours you could have achieved at any one time, and the next time you'd even match this many parcel hours is 3x. And if you had been above average, it probably isn't even worth it to risk it at that point either. So, going beyond 150 parcels for anything but vanity purposes to win a mayorship or governorship seemed kind of folly at the time. Then super rent boosts came and changed the game entirely. Even having one super rent boost a month to start greatly helped players gain a boost on their earnings. These super rent boosts lasted about 32 hours every month, and they were 50x for everyone from tiers 2x to 30x, so it didn't matter how many parcels you had. The fun part is that recently they have gone from one super rent boost a month to two. And we will do the math behind those in a little bit, but let's find out first how much a single super rent boost helped players. Again, assuming 24/7 boosting here, we will do two steps. First, we're going to subtract 32 hours times the boost from the total parcels. So being in the max 30x tier, we would subtract 32 hours times 150 parcels times 30, meaning that we would take away 144,000 parcel hours. However, we're going to now replace it by adding the super rent boost. Add the 32 hours times 150 parcels times 50, meaning you would replace 144,000 parcel hours with 240,000 parcel hours, giving you a 96,000 parcel hour gain that month. And yes, I'm aware of the distributed property, but again, I'm trying to explain how I'm getting the math behind every little bit. And, I just don't want to be confusing anyone. All right. So here's that graph again for each maxed out tier. As you go down in tier, you notice you gain a lot more than you lose, starting at a 96,000 parcel hour gain at max 30x, all the way to a nearly 2.3 million parcel hour gain in the max 3x tier. It's even more pronounced today in a time where 2 super rent boosts a month is increasingly becoming the norm. Matter of fact, the last month that we haven't had a 2 super rent boost month was in October, and that got made up in December when we had 3. We can instead reach a point where we hit the tier without losing money at all, and this can allow us to start building a strategy where we no longer have to gather up Atlas bucks to only get to the maximum amount of parcels for the next tier. Thank you, Super Rent Boosts. So this is what we call the break-even tier, because you break even on the amount of parcels that you put down. You're not losing money. For example, if you bought one parcel at 150 to get to 151, you would lose money. However, if you bought, I don't know, in this case, say 60 or 61, you wouldn't be losing money, and at some point you might even be gaining money, depending on, your particular circumstance. Again, the parcel limit on what is considered break-even is highly dependent on how many hours you boost, how many super rent boosts there are in the month, and what tier you are in. And I'm going to do one example for you. So let's do the newbie that's about to turn regular. So basically they have 150 parcels, 101 badges, and they are ready to move up to the next tier. How many parcels should they move up to today? We are going to assume that they boost 22 hours a day, getting a proper 8 hours of sleep, except during super rent boosts where they will boost the entire 32 hours. And I'm going to assume 2 super rent boosts a month, since this is now becoming the norm. So our example will have a pattern that looks like this. There's going to be 3 types of days for this person. So the most common one are going to be 26 days of 22 hours boosted and 2 hours unboosted. Then we're going to have 2 days of 2 hours unboosted, 14 hours boosted, and 8 hours of super rent boosted, basically the first 8 hours of a super rent boost event. And finally, we will have 2 days of 24 hours super rent boosted. And I'm not going to explain the entire bit of math behind this, but I will give you an idea as to how I came up with these numbers. So you see the 150 there, that's that many parcels. Multiply that by the boost, which is 30. So for example, in this first part here, you see 150 times 26 times 22. That's how many hours boosted. 26 times 22 times 30. And that is the boost here. And we're going to add that with 150 times 26 times 2. That is how many unboosted hours for this type of day. And that gives us 2,581,800 parcel hours. Then, of course, you have the second type there and the third type there. We add those all together. And by the way, the super rent boosted would be 50x in this case. So we'll add them all together, and we have 3,188,400 parcel hours. Now we just need to figure out how many parcels this person needs to equal that many parcel hours in the 20x tier with the same habits. Well, first, let's go ahead and simplify our parentheses to these numbers like so. So the only one that you really have to worry about is 26 times 22 is 572 hours. And then, of course, you see the rest of them being multiplied and simplified as so. Now, we will combine these numbers and group them based on unboosted, boosted, and super rent boosted hours. I tally a total of 56 unboosted hours, 600 boosted hours, and 64 super rent boosted hours. So now we're going to turn 150 our parcels into 3 different variables, because we have 3 different unknowns here, which is the number of unboosted hours, we're going to call that X, the number of boosted hours, Y, and super boosted hours, Z. So now our equation looks like this: 56X plus 600Y plus 64Z equals 3,188,400. But wait, a boosted hour is simply 20 unboosted hours for this tier, and a super boosted hour is simply 50 unboosted hours. So really, Y is equal to 20x and Z is equal to 50x. So we'll just plug those in like so. And then we are going to combine the terms. Actually, first, let's go ahead and multiply them and then combine them. And that leaves us with 15,256x equals 3,188,400. Then we will divide both sides by 15,256, and x equals 208.99. So we're going to say 209 parcels, and this is the average break-even point. Given an average performance in parcel grabbing, you only need to collect 59, not 70 parcels, 59 plus 150 being 209, to get back to the monthly earnings you had in the 30x tier, given 2 super rent boosts and 22 hours of boosting. Now, if this was too much math for you, here's a chart of each of the break-even tiers in between tier caps, and this is assuming 24/7 boosting and 2 super rent boosts a month. There really wasn't too much of a difference as far as like the number of hours you boost. You can go ahead, pause, and take a look. The break-even tiers are in gray. Knowing me, though, I'll probably put up a calculator sometime in the next week or two. But in the meantime, you can use this as a handy guide to where you can safely move up in tiers. Okay, so that's all now for the Atlas Earth stuff on break-even tiers. I am going to make it its own separate video, especially with the Canada release coming soon. I want to do that sometime down the line, maybe in a couple months, we'll see. But in the meantime, here is the board right now. I managed to pick up a few more dollars with some surveys on Bridge Money, trying to finish up a bonus on one of them, and the last little bit of CoinMaster. I had this massive playtime reward for CoinMaster. So cashed out, I currently have $11.26 on Bridge Money. Cashwalk, I am currently at 752 coins, and I am 1/4 of the way to the 3,000 coins needed for the $5 gift card. Atlas Earth, I believe we have made an extra, let me just double check here for a second. It was 0.013 today, so we were at $0.032, so 3.2 cents. All right, that's 3 cents there. Microsoft Rewards, 1,255, and I have started OnePulse. Now, with OnePulse, I have just started my first pulse there, and that puts me at 20 cents. It is currently sitting at about 17 cents a pulse for me, which is great. When you start out at one pulse, though, you're going to start out at 6. That's the only difference, and, you know, starting a new account would have been against their terms of service. So I have to make do with what I got. I know I'm going to have a few small advantages here and there, but, you know, it's what I can do right now for this experiment. Cointoply, again, I'm still contemplating on whether or not I even want to keep it. Swagbucks. Swagbucks, I actually managed to win 24 Swagbucks last night playing their daily trivia. We'll talk about their daily trivia too down the road. It's actually kind of fun, and I might even do a few with you guys. We'll see. Yeah, those were fun. So there's that. Google Opinion Rewards, I'm at 95 cents. I really do need to get these receipts started very, very soon because the 7-day limit is almost up for some of these receipts, as is with Frisbee. Neobucks, slow and steady. This is mostly just for my own amusement. I want to see how far I go and how long it will take me to make $2, basically. The $2 needed to cash out, and then I'm probably just going to get rid of it. And then we have Benjamin, and Benjamin, I've actually made a couple of you referrals have already made the $6 and have helped me out a bit, and I'm currently at 22.01 at the moment, which is a lot. Once I cash out the $25 there, yeah, we're actually going to be able to get started with looking at options to invest, basically. But however, we don't have any credits, so we might be using this money on something else, and again, next week or the following week, we'll talk about that then. And finally, MacAdam and Shopkick. I haven't really recorded much yet. I should have a better recording on Friday when I have a little bit more time. But I'm very busy today, and this was all I could really do today because of work. And tomorrow will be roughly the same thing. It's going to be like this until, day 6. I should have something planned for day 6. I haven't thought it up yet. Day 5 is going to be the short one. Because again, Friday, work. If you like this video, great. Please do leave a like. I want to go for, let's go for 40 likes. Same thing. Same as always. We'll see where that goes. And on the comment section, let me know if you want an Atlas Earth break-even tier calculator. I definitely would not mind doing one for you guys if you want. Maybe even add it to the portfolio somewhere. So if you're interested, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to Beer Money Engine. I will see you all tomorrow.